Imagine this. You're in the middle of nowhere. Danger is closing in fast. You reach for your handgun, and it jams. Game over. That one mechanical failure could cost you everything. And here's the terrifying part. Most people have no idea whether their gun will actually fire when it matters most. Did you know that in independent military stress tests, over 60% of handguns showed at least one malfunction under extreme conditions? Dirt, heat, cold, pressure. Most guns simply weren't built to survive it, but a select few were. These aren't just handguns. They're mechanical legends, forged through wars, torture tests, and decades of real-world punishment. Some have been trusted by Navy SEALs. Others survived Arctic freezes and desert sandstorms without skipping a beat. Today, we're counting down the 10 most reliable handguns ever made. The ones that simply refuse to fail. Stay till the end, because number 1 might completely change everything you thought you knew. Let's get into it. Pistol. Number 10. Walther PPK, the legendary pocket-sized survivor. When you think of a gun that has stood the test of time, the Walther PPK immediately comes to mind. This compact little powerhouse was first introduced back in 1931 in Germany, nearly a century ago. And here's the shocking part. It's still in production today. Think about that for a second. While entire gun manufacturers have come and gone, the PPK just keeps going. That alone tells you something remarkable about its design. But what makes the PPK so bulletproof in terms of reliability? The answer is beautifully simple: fewer moving parts. Most guns fail because they have complex internal systems that jam, wear out, or malfunction under pressure. The PPK was engineered with a straight blowback operating system, meaning less mechanical complexity and far fewer opportunities for failure. The fewer the parts, the fewer the problems. It's engineering logic at its finest. This gun earned its legendary reputation not just in military and police service across Europe, but also in some of the harshest real-world conditions imaginable. Officers trusted it. Soldiers trusted it. And yes, a certain fictional British spy made it world-famous for a reason. Even Hollywood recognized that the PPK projected one thing above everything else: absolute dependability. What truly sets it apart is its ability to function reliably with minimal maintenance. You don't need to baby this gun. You don't need a perfect environment. Give it basic care, and it will perform every single time you need it. Small in size, massive in legacy, the Walther PPK proves that true reliability never goes out of style. Number 9. Ruger GP 100, the tank that never quits. If you were to take a handgun and build it like an armored vehicle, the result would be the Ruger GP 100. This is not just a revolver. This is a monument to mechanical toughness. Introduced in the mid-1980s, the GP 100 was Ruger's answer to one simple but critical question: what happens when you build a handgun with absolutely zero compromises on durability? The answer became one of the most celebrated revolvers in American history. Here's what makes the GP 100 genuinely extraordinary. While semi-automatic pistols deal with magazines, slides, and complex feeding systems, all potential failure points, the GP 100 operates on a beautifully simple revolver platform. No magazine to jam, no slide to malfunction, no complicated feeding ramp to choke on ammunition. You pull the trigger, the cylinder rotates, and the round fires. Every single time. That simplicity is not a weakness. It's the GP 100's greatest superpower. What really separates this gun from the competition is its triple locking cylinder system. Most revolvers lock at 1 or 2 points. The GP 100 locks at 3, front, rear, and center, creating a level of mechanical stability that is almost unmatched in its class. Independent testing and long-term user reports have documented the GP 100 running well beyond 50,000 rounds with minimal internal wear. That's not just impressive. That's almost unbelievable for any mechanical firearm. Outdoorsmen, survivalists, and people hiking through bare country swear by this gun because when nature throws its worst at you, you need a weapon that won't flinch. Built like a tank, runs like a machine, the Ruger GP 100 simply refuses to quit. Number 8. Smith & Wesson Model 686, the stainless steel legend. There are handguns that people respect, Then there are handguns that people revere. The Smith & Wesson Model 686 firmly belongs in that second category. Born in 1980, this revolver didn't just enter the firearms market, it redefined what a duty revolver could be. Decades later, it still stands as one of the most trusted, most admired, and most battle-tested handguns ever manufactured. So what makes the 686 so special? It starts with the material itself, stainless steel construction from the inside out. While other handguns corrode, rust, and degrade when exposed to rain, humidity, and saltwater environments, the 686 simply laughs it off. Stainless steel doesn't just look impressive, it creates a physical barrier against the kind of environmental punishment that destroys lesser firearms over time. Whether you're caught in a torrential downpour, operating near the ocean, or working in extreme humidity, this gun maintains its mechanical integrity without hesitation. That real-world toughness is exactly why the U.S. Border Patrol relied on the Model 686 for decades as a primary duty weapon. These are professionals operating in unpredictable, demanding outdoor environments. And they chose the 686 because it delivered consistent, unwavering performance when conditions were anything but ideal. The 686 also carries the legendary Smith & Wesson double-action trigger system, giving shooters a smooth, controlled firing experience even under pressure. Reliability and accuracy working together. That's a rare and powerful combination. Through rain, salt, and decades of hard use, the Smith & Wesson Model 686 proves that true legends never corrode. Number 7. Heckler & Koch USP, the engineer's masterpiece. They're gun manufacturers. And then there is Heckler & Koch, a company so obsessed with perfection that their internal motto, "No compromise," isn't just a catchy slogan. It's an engineering philosophy that bleeds into every single component of every gun they produce. And nowhere is that philosophy more powerfully expressed than in the legendary HK USP. What immediately separates the USP from its competitors is something most people never even think about: its patented recoil reduction system. Every time a gun fires, a violent wave of energy slams back through the frame. Over thousands of rounds, that punishment destroys internal components, loosens tolerances, and gradually degrades reliability. The USP was specifically engineered to absorb and redirect that energy, protecting its internal parts in a way that most handguns simply cannot match. The result is a gun that gets remarkably less wear over time compared to almost anything else in its class. This wasn't just theory. It was proven under the most demanding conditions imaginable. The USP passed the FBI's legendary reliability protocol, completing a brutal 2,000-round test without recording a single failure. That's not luck. That's precision German engineering delivering exactly what it promised. Military and law enforcement agencies worldwide took notice. German police forces, U.S. Special Operations Units, and NATO allies all adopted the USP, because when lives are on the line, there is absolutely no room for mechanical excuses. Uncompromising in design, unbreakable in performance. The HK USP doesn't just meet the standard, it sets it. Number 6. Beretta 92 FS, the Hollywood icon with real-world muscle. Some handguns earn their reputation on movie screens. The Beretta 92 FS earned its reputation on battlefields, police streets, and grueling military test ranges, and then Hollywood simply couldn't resist putting it on screen too. This iconic Italian-made pistol is one of the most recognizable and decorated handguns in modern history, and for reasons that go far deeper than its sleek, beautiful appearance. The most powerful endorsement the 92 FS ever received had nothing to do with cinema. In 1985, the United States military officially adopted it as their standard sidearm, replacing the legendary Colt 1911 after 74 years of service. That is not a decision the U.S. military makes lightly. The 92 FS went through years of the most punishing reliability and endurance testing imaginable: extreme cold, desert heat, sand immersion, and water submersion, and it passed everything thrown at it with remarkable consistency. The secret behind its legendary reliability lies in its open slide design. Unlike traditional pistols where debris and fouling get trapped inside the action, the 92 FS features an exposed barrel with an open top slide. This means dirt, carbon, and debris naturally clear themselves during the firing cycle rather than building up and causing malfunctions. It's a brilliantly simple mechanical solution that gives this gun a massive real-world advantage in dirty, unpredictable environments. Documented 30,000 round endurance tests confirmed what soldiers already knew. This gun simply does not quit. It served the U.S. military faithfully for over 30 consecutive years. Beautiful in appearance, brutal in endurance. The Beretta 92 FS proves that Italian craftsmanship and battlefield toughness can absolutely coexist. Number 5. SIG Sauer P226, the gun that almost beat everyone and still did. Here's a story that most people don't know. Back in the early 1980s, the United States military ran one of the most competitive and rigorous handgun trials in American history, searching for a new standard sidearm to replace the aging Colt 1911. Dozens of manufacturers submitted their finest weapons. When the dust finally settled, two guns stood above everything else: the Beretta 92 FS and the SIG Sauer P226. The Beretta won on cost. But here's what's truly fascinating. Many firearms experts and military insiders still argue the P226 was the superior weapon, and the world's most elite forces agreed. While the U.S. Army chose the Beretta, the United States Navy SEALs made their own decision. They chose the P226. Let that sink in. The most demanding, most highly trained special operations unit on the planet looked at every available option and pointed directly at the SIG Sauer P226. That endorsement alone places this gun in a category that very few firearms ever reach. What makes the P226 so extraordinarily reliable is its no external safety design. This sounds counterintuitive at first, but fewer mechanical components means fewer potential failure points. In high-pressure situations where every millisecond matters, a gun that deploys instantly without safety manipulation is a gun that saves lives. The P226 was also adopted by the FBI, DEA, and police forces across more than 40 nations. A global vote of confidence backed by real operational experience. Tested by the best. Chosen by the toughest. The SIG Sauer P226 is what excellence under pressure truly looks like. Number 4. CZ75, the world's most underrated handgun, finally gets its crown. There is a quiet secret that serious firearms experts have whispered among themselves for decades. A secret that casual gun enthusiasts often overlook simply because of where this pistol was born. The CZ75, designed and built in Czechoslovakia back in 1975, is quietly regarded by some of the world's most respected firearms authorities as one of the greatest handgun designs ever conceived. Not just in its era, not just in its category, ever. So why hasn't everyone heard of it? Largely because during the Cold War era, Western markets had extremely limited access to anything produced behind the Iron Curtain. While American and Western European shooters were focused on their own manufacturers, Czech engineers were quietly building something extraordinary. A pistol so well designed that once the world finally got access to it, over 60 countries immediately adopted it for military and police service. 60 countries. That number speaks louder than any marketing campaign ever could. The engineering secret behind the CZ75's legendary reliability is its rail-in side frame design. Most pistols mount the slide on top of the frame rails, meaning the slide sits higher and creates more mechanical instability during firing. The CZ75 flips this completely. The frame rails wrap around the slide, creating a lower, tighter, more stable mechanical relationship between components. The result is smoother operation, tighter tolerances, and dramatically reduced wear over tens of thousands of rounds. This design also delivers something rare, exceptional accuracy straight out of the box, combined with ironclad reliability under pressure. Underrated by the uninformed, revered by the experts. The CZ75 is the hidden masterpiece the firearms world finally owes recognition. Number 3, Glock 17, the gun that changed everything forever. In 1982, a relatively unknown Austrian curtain rod manufacturer walked into the firearms industry and did something absolutely extraordinary. He completely shattered everything the industry thought it knew about handgun design. Gaston Glock had never designed a gun before. He had no decades of firearms tradition holding him back, no outdated thinking clouding his judgment. And that fresh perspective produced something the world had never seen before, the Glock 17. The firearms establishment laughed at first. A polymer plastic frame on a serious duty pistol? Ridiculous. Unprofessional. Unreliable. That was the consensus from traditional manufacturers who had spent generations building metal firearms. But Gaston Glock wasn't building a traditional gun. He was building the future. That polymer frame wasn't a weakness. It was a revolutionary advantage. It absorbed recoil energy more effectively than metal, dramatically reduced the overall weight, and eliminated the corrosion vulnerability that plagued steel frame competitors. Then came the torture tests, and everything changed. The Glock 17 was frozen solid in blocks of ice, buried in desert sand, and submerged completely underwater. And every single time, it was retrieved and fired without a single malfunction. These weren't controlled laboratory conditions designed to favor the weapon. These were brutal, punishing real-world simulations designed specifically to break it. And the Glock 17 simply refused. The result? 48 countries and the overwhelming majority of U.S. law enforcement agencies adopted it as their standard sidearm. Over 5 million Glock 17s are currently in active service worldwide. Mocked by traditionalists, adopted by the world, the Glock 17 didn't just change the firearms industry. It redefined what reliability even means. Number 2. Colt 1911, the immortal warrior that refuses to retire. They're firearms. They're legends. And then there is the Colt 1911, a handgun so fundamentally perfect in its design that the United States military carried it as their official standard sidearm for 74 consecutive years. From the blood-soaked trenches of World War I straight through to the jungles of Vietnam, one handgun remained constant, reliable, and trusted through all. No other sidearm in American military history even comes close to that record. Not one. The man behind this immortal design was John Moses Browning, widely and almost universally regarded as the single greatest firearms designer who ever lived. Browning didn't just design a reliable pistol. He designed a mechanical masterpiece so fundamentally sound that over a century of technological advancement has failed to produce a design that made it obsolete. Engineers have tried. Manufacturers have attempted improvements. Yet the core 1911 platform remains as relevant and trusted today as it was when Woodrow Wilson was President of the United States. What makes the 1911 so extraordinarily reliable is its elegant mechanical simplicity. Every component serves a precise purpose. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is unnecessary. The result is a firing system that functions with remarkable consistency across extreme temperatures, filthy conditions, and punishing round counts. The powerful .45 ACP cartridge it chambers delivers stopping power that generations of soldiers and law enforcement officers stake their lives on without hesitation. Remarkably, special operations units still voluntarily choose the 1911 platform today, over a century after its introduction. Over 110 years old, still chosen by warriors. The Colt 1911 isn't just a firearm, it's living, breathing shooting history. Number 1. Glock 19, the world's most trusted handgun, full stop. And here we are, the moment you've been waiting for. After examining 9 extraordinary firearms that have proven themselves across battlefields, police departments, and survival situations worldwide, one handgun rises above every single competitor to claim the top position. Not because of marketing, not because of Hollywood exposure, but because of cold, undeniable, real-world evidence accumulated across decades of the most demanding operational use imaginable. The Glock 19 is the world's most trusted handgun, and the numbers, the endorsements, and the performance record make that conclusion absolutely impossible to argue against. What makes the Glock 19 so special compared to its older sibling, the Glock 17? The answer is perfection of balance. The Glock 17 is outstanding. We already established that. But the Glock 19 took everything that made the 17 legendary and packaged it into a more compact, more versatile, more universally deployable platform. It's small enough to conceal effectively for plainclothes operations, yet large enough to serve as a full-duty weapon in the most dangerous environments on Earth. That extraordinary versatility is precisely why the CIA, FBI, Delta Force, and law enforcement agencies across every inhabited continent have standardized on the Glock 19 as their weapon of choice. But the defining moment came during Gaston Glock's original endurance test. 15,000 consecutive rounds fired through the pistol with absolutely zero malfunctions recorded. Not one. That benchmark didn't just impress the firearms community. It permanently reset expectations for what handgun reliability could and should mean. Compact yet powerful. Versatile yet unbreakable. The Glock 19 doesn't just top this list. It defines what every handgun on Earth should aspire to be.